This book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, written by Robert T. Kiyosaki. It was first published in 1997 and is still considered one of the most widely read financial education books in the world. This book has changed the mindset of millions of people, giving them a new perspective on money, work, and investing. Robert Kiyosaki was born in 1947 in Hilo, Hawaii. From childhood, two very different personalities influenced his life. On one side was his real father, a highly educated professor, whom Robert referred to in his book as Poor Dad. He believed that education, a good degree, and a government job were the ultimate path to success. On the other side was his friend's father, a successful businessman whom Robert called Rich Dad. He believed that financial education was more important than formal education. According to him, people must learn how to make money, grow capital, and build businesses. Robert's life was shaped between the teachings of these two fathers with opposite mindsets. One always showed the safe path, while the other showed the path to wealth. The difference in mindset. Between the rich and the poor and middle-class people often say, "I can't afford this." Rich people ask, "How can I afford this?" The difference is only in thinking. Poor Dad always said, "Work hard for money, get a good job, save." Rich Dad said, "A job is only a temporary solution. True success comes when your money works for you." When Robert and his friend Mike wanted to earn money as kids, Poor Dad advised, "Work hard, study, and get a good job." But Rich Dad gave them a lesson. He made them work at his store without pay, so they could learn that relying only on a job would never make them wealthy. From this, Robert realized that more important than hard work is learning how to make money your servant. Assets versus liabilities. One of Robert Kiyosaki's greatest lessons: the rich buy assets, the poor buy liabilities, thinking they're assets. Asset: something that puts money in your pocket, e.g., rental property, stocks, business. Liability: something that takes money out of your pocket, e.g., a luxury car, a house with ongoing loan payments. Poor Dad always believed buying your own house was the best investment. But Rich Dad explained that a personal house actually drains money, maintenance, taxes, mortgage, and is a liability. True assets are those that keep making money for you without your direct labor. The importance of financial education. The book's most powerful message is that schools teach science, math, and literature, but not how to manage money. That's why even highly educated people often struggle financially. Robert's poor dad had a PhD, was well-educated, and held a good job, but always lived under the stress of loans and bills. On the other hand, Rich Dad had no college degree, but became wealthy through business and investing. The only difference was financial education. Job versus business. Poor Dad considered a secure job the ultimate goal. Job security is everything. Rich Dad said jobs turn people into employees who trade time for money but never build wealth. True wealth is created through business and investments. When Robert started his first company and lost money, Poor Dad said, "This is why business is risky. Go back to your job." But Rich Dad said, "Mistakes are lessons. Losses are simply the tuition you pay to gain knowledge." This mindset helped Robert grow into a successful businessman and investor. Understanding cash flow. Robert often says, "The rich understand cash flow. The poor only look at income and expenses." Cash flow means where the money comes from, income. Where it goes, expenses. What's left over, surplus, deficit. For the poor and middle class, cash flow looks like this: salary, bills, loans, rent, shopping. End of month. Return zero. For the rich, cash flow looks like this: assets, rental income, dividends, business profit. Reinvest into assets. Wealth grows continuously. Rich Dad also explained the cash flow quadrant. E, employee, works for a job. S, self-employed, works for themselves. Doctor, lawyer, freelancer. B, business owner, builds a system, hires others. I, investor, puts money to work. Poor dad stayed in E and S while rich dad focused on B and I. That's why one kept working for money and the other built lasting wealth. Fear and risk-taking. Most people say, "What if I invest and lose money?" This fear holds them back. Poor dad. Avoid risk. Stay safe. Rich dad. To learn, you must take risks. When Robert's first investment failed, poor dad said, "See, this is why you should be careful." Rich dad said, "Don't fear mistakes. Learn from them. The real loss is never trying." This courage later helped Robert succeed in big businesses and real estate. Work to learn, not just to earn. Most people work only for a paycheck. But Rich Dad taught Robert that the real purpose of work is to learn skills. Robert had no sales experience. His mentor told him, "If you want to be a businessman, you must learn how to sell and persuade people." So Robert took a low-paying salesman job. Poor Dad called it a waste of time, but Robert gained skills in sales, marketing, and communication. Skills that later became the foundation of his business success. How can you apply these principles in your life? Buy assets, not liabilities. Instead of buying a new car on installments, buy a small rental property or online business. Increase your financial education. Read one finance or business book every month. Learn basic accounting and investing. Build multiple income streams. Don't rely only on salary. Start a side hustle, freelancing, rentals, or an online store. Don't fear risk. Start small, make mistakes, learn. Losses are temporary. Not learning is permanent. Work to learn. Gain skills that help in business and investing. Sales, marketing, negotiation, communication. Track your cash flow. Write down your income and expenses. Review monthly where your money is going. Robert Kiyosaki never said that jobs are bad or education is useless. He only showed that relying only on a job will keep you chasing money forever. But if you adopt the rich dad mindset, money will chase you. Remember, the rich are not born. They train their minds to become rich. Anyone can change their destiny by changing their thinking. The decisions you make today determine whether your future will be poor or wealthy. You now have two choices. 1. Poor dad's path, job, bills, loans, and lifelong financial stress. 2. Rich dad's path, financial education, assets, multiple income streams, and financial freedom. So the real question is, are you ready to apply these principles to your own life starting today? Take the first step. Buy your first small asset. Grow your financial knowledge. Make your very first rich dad decision.